My Line? Brought to you by Allstate, whose policies now include protection for your home, your family, as well as your car. You're in good hands with Allstate. Now let's all play What's My Line? And now, live from New York, let's meet our What's My Line panel. First, the popular columnist whose voice of Broadway appears in papers coast to coast, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
Now, a very popular fellow from a very popular TV show called Play Your Hunch. Next to me, on my left, Mr. Merv Griffin.
Thank you, Dorothy. My pleasure this in time to introduce to you a gal who could only appear as a panelist on What's My Line because everybody knows her line, and I might add it's one of the nicest ones I know. Here's Arlene Francis.
And now our traveling panelist, the lecturing publisher of Random House, who has decided to come back and do a little publishing, Mr. Bennett, Cerf.
Well, now that I am back as a publisher, it's my pleasure to remind you that coming up is National Library Week. And this year it's devoted to children of 8 to 14 who read a lot more good books than they used to. And I think one of the stimulants to that good reading is the good television shows, they say. Well, I'm not the only one on this panel who's been traveling around. Here's our moderator who's just come down from lording it up around his old prep school. Old school-tied John Charles Davis.
Yes, I took a leaf out of Bennett's book this week and went traveling. I've been up in the country that Carl Sandburg remembers as the land of black water and white birches and sleepy white hills, visiting with the alumni of my preparatory school, Tilton School, in Connecticut and New Hampshire. And it's beautiful up there at this time of year. I recommend it, Bennett, for your next trip. Merv Griffin, it's nice to have you with us.
Thank you, John.
Hope you enjoyed the next half hour. We'll make it interesting for you if we do nothing else. We'll promise you that. We'll also have a famous mystery guest before all of the members on the panel a little bit later in the program, and we'll meet our first challenger. And now let's meet our first contestant. Will you enter and sign in, please? Ray E. Dodge. Right, sir? Would you mind telling us what that E stands for, Mr. Dodge?
Edgar.
Edgar. Well, Edgar, it's nice to have you with us tonight. Where are you from, Mr. Dodge?
I'm from Miami Beach.
From
Florida.
Miami Beach, Florida. Nice to have you with us. May I present our panel? Mr. Dodge, would you join me over here, please, sir? Do you know how we keep score on What's My Line?
Yes, I do.
Fine, then let's let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. All right, panel, we will tell you that Mr. Dodge is self-employed and deals in a product. And let's begin the general questioning with the peripatetic Bennett Cerf.
Peripatetic. Thank you. Mr. Dodge, this product that you're connected with, may I ask if it's produced in or near Miami Beach?
No.
Well, now, you only asked if you could ask the question, Bennett. But you got to know anyway, so that's 1 down and 9 to go. Miss Kilgallen.
I'm confused. Does that mean, John, this is really just for clarification, does Mr. Dodge mean that he does not work in or near Miami?
That's right. Actually, the question I asked Mr. Dodge is, where are you from, i.e., his native area?
He meant he might not have been there for years.
That's right.
I
That's
see.
possible.
Okay. All right. Do you... Is this a product I could use, Mr. Dodge?
Pardon?
Is this a product that Miss Kilgallen could use?
Very much.
Oh, I could.
Well, I would say it's a product you certainly would like to have some association with, as a good many other people would.
Is it something that would be good for me?
I would say that if you were to have an association with it, it would undoubtedly have beneficial results as far as you yourself were concerned, would increase your sense of perhaps well-being and...
I'm beginning to like it already. Is it something I could hold in my hand?
Yes.
Can it be folded?
No.
No, that's 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Griffin.
Now, Dorothy would enjoy this product. Would I enjoy it?
Yes.
Yes, if you had an association with this product, Mr. Griffin, I think you, in turn, would have a sense of well-being from the association that would please you and give you some enjoyment.
He talks good, huh? Would I have this product in my home?
You could have, probably.
You mean, are you asking, would you have it now? In its general category, I would think we would have to agree that in the general category, it's possible you might have, yeah.
Would this make me healthier, in a sense?
Not necessarily.
No, I don't think so. 3 down and
Unhealthy?
7 to go, Miss Francis.
Is this product solid rather than liquid?
Solid.
Is it a product that that is fairly expensive?
Fairly expensive, yes.
Is it a product that one might find in a store?
No. Yes and no.
Well, let me say that in the general category in which a specific product in which we're interested would lie, you could find it in a store. In the particular case that we're interested in, you would not find it in a store, so you'd get a qualified yes to that answer.
All right. Is this product a metal of some kind?
Yes.
Is this product gold?
Yes.
Are you a panner of gold? I never pan it myself. I'm for it, 100%.
No panner of gold. 4 down and 6 to go,
But,
Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Dodge, you have something to do with gold. You handle the product that you have with something that is concerned with gold.
It could have something to do with gold, but this does not exclude other materials.
Is the gold in, when you handle it, has it not yet been put into various jewelry and byproducts? Is it still in bars when you handle it? No. Is it in is it in nuggets? No.
That's 5 down and 5 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
It's in dust.
Is it ever in the ground when you encounter it?
I shouldn't hear that.
Is it ever in the ground? In an unmined state?
Yes.
Are you then a miner? A metal
Wait a minute, now
miner?
we'll have to have a small conference here and get this.
Gold is where you find it. And I'd like to.
The gold dust sweat.
Yeah.
What are they talking about?
They're making a deal.
Bennett, you raised the question as to whether or not there was any association between our guest and bar gold. Is that right?
Or nuggets. Yes.
All right, then we'll go back, Dorothy, if you don't mind, Bennett, because
I'm
you get a
relieved.
yes on that.
Oh, you mean you're reversing yourself, John? This is an absolute precedent.
I'm not reversing myself, Bennett. I'm just trying to be fair.
You mean it had something to do with nuggets, then? Is that correct?
Thank you very much, Bennett Cerf. It is now 5 down, 5 to go, Miss
I couldn't hear
Kilgallen.
what Bennett said. What did Bennett get?
Bennett said it had something to do with nuggets, so we gave him these no.
So it's bars.
You have... What I would like to know is, does Mr. Dodge have anything to do with getting metal out of the ground?
Out of the ground.
No.
Mining it. That's fine. 6 down and 4 to go, Mr. Griffin.
Mr. Dodge, when you receive the gold, does it ever come to you in the shape of gold bar?
Yes.
And then do you do something to the gold bar
Yes.
to manufacture your product or to...
Yes.
I take it I'm going to do one of those backward questions like you guys do. I take it then that this is not necessarily jewelry.
No.
That's right.
Didn't I say that right?
Yeah, you did that splendidly, Merv. Yes, it is not jewelry, no.
Would this ever have to do with anything? Would the gold ever be worn by me?
No.
No. That's 7 down and 3 to go, Miss Francis.
Are there other metals besides gold?
Yes.
There are other metals, yes.
Definitely.
Like silver or platinum or
No.
plutonium or
Well,
whoever.
there are other metals.
There are other metals. And you do something to these metals?
Yes.
Rather, you make them into something?
Yes.
And you don't make them into braces for teeth or anything like that?
No.
That's one of
Yes,
those
we do
backward
not make
questions.
them into braces for teeth, no.
Oh, but the gold is used for something other than adornment. Is that correct?
No.
Well, it's...
I'd say it's
well, I
for
think...
adornment.
Yeah, I would say here, Mr. Dodge, that Miss Francis, in using the word adornment, means personal
Oh,
adornment.
I see. No, for the item.
So you would get a yes. It's not used for personal adornment.
It's used for adornment.
Dorothy has it. Maybe he makes
You
gold
have
plate.
15 seconds.
Money?
Oscars?
No.
Right! Oscar! I must say this, you're all to be congratulated, because this was a tough one. Bennett and Merv and Arlene and Dorothy all opened doors I thought would never be opened so that you would reach this. Mr. Dodge is really the Dodge Trophy Company, I believe, isn't it? In Los Angeles. And a most interesting thing to me is that Mr. Dodge was a 1,000-meter runner in track, and a very good one, where you were on an Olympic team back in when?
24.
1924, the U.S. Olympic team in 1924, and out of his own athletic activity, he came with some of your colleagues to the design and manufacture of trophies. Yeah. And you manufacture the Oscar and the Emmy and a great many trophies.
May I ask a question to Mr. Dodge? Mr. Dodge, on the level, are those Oscars solid gold?
No.
No.
They're an alloy, aren't they?
Tin.
Tin.
Pure tin. That's the best of the non-precious metals.
And then they have an oval.
Disillusioning.
You
They're
mean the
gold
Oscars
plated.
that will
They're-
be
they're
won
plated.
tomorrow
Plated
night?
pewter.
Yes.
No, it's plated.
Those Oscars are not gold.
No, they're gold plated.
They're gold plated.
Yes.
Gold
Heavy.
Well, you
gold
can slip us one on the way out anyway.
That is, it's good. The base is pewter, good pure tin, but it's heavily gold plated.
How many will be given out tomorrow night?
60.
Wow. Long program, won't it?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, right now, I have more Oscars than anybody in the business.
I would think so. And I dare say you ought to get one for designing the Oscar anyway.
Well,
Thank
I
you,
didn't
Mr.
design
Dodge.
it. Thank you.
Lovely to have you with us on What's My Life. And Mr. Dodge probably corrected me. He didn't design it, but his participation in the origination of the Oscar, I think, is something he should get real credit for. And now let's try a second challenge. Will you enter and sign in, please? Lily. McGuire. May I ask if it's Miss or Mrs. McGuire?
Mrs.
Mrs. McGuire. Where are you from, Mrs. McGuire?
Ohio.
From Ohio. Nice to have you with us. Mrs. McGuire, may I present our panel? Now, would you join me over here, please? Mrs. McGuire, do you know how we keep score?
Yes, I do.
Fine. Then we'll let the audience at home and the audience here in the theater know exactly what your line is. All right, panel, we can tell you that Mrs. McGuire is self-employed and deals in a service, and we'll begin the general questioning with Arlene Francis.
Mrs. McGuire, do you need special training for your job?
Yes.
Do you need a degree for your job?
Well, it's better if you do have.
I would say a qualified yes to that. I think Mrs. McGuire has put it right. You probably don't absolutely have to have a degree, but the more training and the better the training, which would be a degree course, would be the best course.
Mrs. McGuire, do people come to you for your service?
Sometime.
Are you referred to as something other than Mrs. when people come to you for your service?
Yes.
Do you have another title? Would the title be doctor?
No.
That is 1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mrs. McGuire, you told us you're from Ohio, but you neglected to say where in Ohio. Was there any particular reason for that, or did you just forget?
It's near Dayton, Ohio.
Near Dayton? Just come back from Dayton. Do you have anything whatever to do, Mrs. McGuire?
You didn't bring her with you, that's clear.
My mistake. Mrs. McGuire, do you have anything whatever to do with the law or law enforcement?
No.
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Do you have anything to do with religion?
With religion.
Yes. Are you a preacher? A minister?
Yes, that's it.
John?
Yes.
I must tell you that, sometimes we warm up in the bullpen upstairs before we come down, and since it was
Would you explain that, please?
Merv's first time on the panel, I decided I would be somebody, and they'd try to guess what my profession was, and I was a minister.
For heaven's sake.
Before the show.
But she was very misinformed because she told us you don't need any training for a job.
No,
like
no, I said you didn't need a college degree.
that. Oh.
Well, and what
Do
we
you?
said, Merv, is... what we said, Arlene, you don't have to have it, but it certainly is better that you do have a degree in theology if you're going to be a minister.
Mrs. McGuire, I'd like to point out to you that our Dorothy is as hot as a pistol tonight.
Of course, our minister is a rather special one, particularly for us, because Mrs. McGuire is the mother of Phyllis and Chris and Dorothy, the McGuire sisters. And actually is now a preacher in the true sense of the word, because you did have your own church for 15 years, but now you go, Mrs. McGuire, or the Reverend Mrs. McGuire, goes to various pulpits around the nation, visits and participates.
This is really spooky because as soon as this gets off the air, this program, if it ever does, if I stop talking, I'm meeting my husband and the McGuire sisters of the Copacabana to see Rosie Clooney.
Isn't
okay?
it? Oh, that's great. That makes it wonderful old home week, and thanks for being with us, Mrs. McGuire. It's lovely to have you. We'll meet tonight's mystery guest in just a moment, but first, here is a word from our... And now we come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery challenger, for which the panel members, as you know, are always blindfolded. Blindfolds all in place, panel?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Good. Will you enter mystery challenger and sign in, please? Panel, as you know, in the case of our mystery challenger, we go to a different form of questioning. You ask one question at a time, in turn, moving clockwise. And let's begin with Dorothy Kilgallen.
Are you famous for your work in movies?
No.
1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Griffin.
Are you famous for your work on television?
Yes.
Miss Francis.
Are you, an actress?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Have you ever used a candelabra prominently in your act?
No.
3 down and 7 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Well, are you a girl singer of many records?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin.
Bennett has me confused.
Are you appearing on a regular show at this time on television?
No.
That makes it 4 down and 6 to go, Miss Francis.
Can I rule out that you had anything to do with the lady that was on a short time ago?
Well, we don't understand, Arlene.
Do you have, is there anything going on between you and our previous contestant?
In what way?
The nicest possible way, in the way of a relationship.
Yes.
Are you the McGuire sisters?
Yes.
Oh, that's great fun.
Do you know what Phyllis said to me the other night? She said, oh, they'll never have us on that program again.
And the other night after our show at Basin Street East, Merv was there and Dorothy was there. You can imagine all the tension there among us.
Well, this was great fun. I must say, your mother was delightful, as you can see.
No, this is it. All we need is our father now.
Yeah.
Visiting the whole family.
Listen, I might add, too, John, they're marvelous. They have a great act at Basin Street.
Oh, they've
Very
always been marvelous. I remember once coming back from the Kentucky Derby, or Derby, with these three lovely young ladies sitting right behind us, and they were working hard, practicing new songs in an aeroplane, grinding its way out of Louisville, coming into New York. They've always been great because they take their art and their work very seriously and do a wonderful, wonderful job. Thank you all for helping us have some fun tonight. Good to see you all. Well, you've done very well so far tonight, panel, and we'll try a very quick and final panelist, or other contestant, in just a moment after this spot from our... And now to meet a final contestant. Will you enter and sign in, please? Henry L. Smith. Right there? Your name is not McGuire.
No.
No, it's Henry Smith. Where are you from?
I'm from Newburgh, New York.
Newburgh, New York. May I present our panel? Mr. Smith, and will you join me over here, please? You know how we keep score? Fine, then let's let everybody know exactly what your line is. All right. Panel, we have very little time. I will tell you very quickly that Mr. Smith is self-employed and deals in a service, and we'll begin with Mr. Griffin.
Mr. Smith, the service you perform can be used by both sexes?
Yes.
Why are they laughing?
Because he said no, I guess.
He said yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes. And is this service performed in the home?
No.
No, that's one down to go, Miss Preston.
Do you work with your hands in any way in this service?
Yes.
Do you use any type of instrument or accessory for
Yes.
your work? Is there anything entertaining or sportsmanlike in your work?
An association, I would say, with those broad areas, yes.
Do you have anything to do in any way with the up-and-coming baseball season?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Smith, we can rule out, I take it, that relief hullabaloo that's been going on in Newburgh, right? You have nothing whatever to do with that.
No.
Does the work that you do involve coming into contact with children?
No.
No. That's 3 down and 7 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Do you consider your employment humorous?
Sometimes.
It all depends on how things go.
Do you have anything to do with getting people together to have fun?
No, I wouldn't think so. 4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Griffin.
When you're performing your service, do you wear something other than what you're wearing now?
I usually do.
A kind of uniform or costume?
Work garb. Yeah.
Work clothes.
Yes.
In what you do, is there something
Merv, I'm sorry.
I know what it is.
What is
Can I
it?
take a guess?
Yes.
Does he have anything to do with bartending?
No.
Oh!
But he does shoe trotting horses, which is a particular and delicate art. That's all we know. Yeah. He's been out at Roosevelt Racetrack and has a good deal of fun doing it. Thanks very much for coming. And now I'm afraid I've used up all the time. With apologies to the panel, I will say good night for all of us, and thanks for being with us on What's My Line?
What's My Line is a CBS television network production in association with Mark Goodson and Bill Todman. Johnny Olson speaking.